You know, I get asked the question all the time, if I could only pick one goose call to pack with me through the course of a season to get the job done, no matter what kind of situation I was in, whether I was running traffic, I was hunting on the side of a refuge, I was out west hunting lessers, we were in Canada, no matter what call would you pick from the thousands that's on the market today? You know, the market's just saturated with goose calls. It seems like everybody who's placed fifth in a goose calling contest has got their own signature call out. If I could only pick one of those out of the thousands that are out there, which call would it be? It would definitely be the Tim Grounds Halfbreed. The Halfbreed's got such a unique sound, and it is deadly on geese. And I was fortunate enough to go visit with Tim a few weeks ago and talk about the history of the Halfbreed. You know, all of my contest titles that I've won, all of my major contests have came from Tim Grounds championship calls. Tim owns the history when it comes to calling contests and innovation. There's no other call on the market that's won more world titles or more titles per se than Tim Grounds championship calls. I think you guys will really enjoy the history behind the Halfbreed.
How y'all doing out there? You know, I'm gonna set the record straight about this little old call called the Halfbreed. It's been documented in a catalog. It's on digital. It's digital right on my website, www.timgrounds.com, and it's right there documented exactly what I'm going to tell you, because the truth don't lie. So, how did this all come to pass? Well, in 1986, the Nationals was held at the Executive Inn in Paducah. I'm sitting, one side of me is David Hale, the other side of me is Harold Knight. There's 39 guys. They're from the East Coast. Al Dagger, Sean Mann. But these guys come in with these Hess hats on. And there's a little controversy going on amongst my old buddy Harold and my old buddy Chaz. At that time, I didn't know Chaz. Charlie Hess to you guys. But anyway, I won the Nationals that year in '86. And all this guy by the name of Keith Hess did is walk by and pat me on the shoulder and said, "You got a lot more call than you really realized. Good job." That's it. I thought about that for a year. Never heard from him. So, 1987, went back down there, and I was very blessed to win it again. But I won it on an A50. Now, in 1988, all the stuff I had to do, I modified, all the modifications I did with the A50, I put into the Guide's Best. The A50 is what I won the 86 and 87 Nationals on. It was an Alt A50. And it was a long call, okay? And it was more. Okay? It had a deep, throaty, goosey sound. Still think it's one of the best moans that you can get out of a call. But this guy, Keith Hess, walks up to me after I win for the back-to-back years. He says, "You got a minute?" I said, "Sure." I said, "I ain't forgot what you said last year." So we went in there and we sat down and we had a cold pop and talked and become, I think, really, really good friends. They're like my family now. Charlie's now passed. I didn't know Charlie at that time. He was there. Keith's the one that I met first. And he told me that I had a lot more call than I ever realized the year before. Good job. So I wanted to know about I want to know about what kind of call, more about, show me the call I've got. Talk to me about it. So we sat down. He said, he lives in Henderson, Kentucky. He said, "You care if I come over one night?" "No, be great, come on." So he come over, he said, "I want to show you something." And what the Hess call was one of the original short reed calls. A lot of people take credit for it. There was the L22, and they put a Band-Aid on it, and it was kind of a short reed, but it was still yet not Charlie Hess the Master. There was a Dub Hessero over there down on the other side of the river that was doing these modified, not in Henderson, but on the other side of the river doing these modified A50s, and they just kind of kept it in the corner, just like they kept it in the corner in Henderson. So Keith comes over, and he comes over. We sat in my basement for hours. He made several trips for hours, and everything at that time was all, even on a flute, everything was clear sound, no guttural sound. And the Hess call was operated open-handed. Everything was open-handed, the same way it was when I met the guy by the name of Abe Lewis that taught me how to modify the A50s. And we conversed that on. Not saying I didn't have a lot, I've had a lot of help in my life, I'm very blessed, but I've tried to pass that help on. So, what we did, when Keith come over, he said, hey, there's your flute. Let's cut this thing down a little bit and make it sound realer. I said, I'm in. So, he showed me, here's one right here. It says I stole it from him. Can't read it on there. But this is a 3/4 bore. But if you notice, all that stuff was clear air. Well, we got it. One thing led to the next, and after several trips, I said, Keith, I said, we got to figure out a thing. We got to figure out a name for this thing. You got me fired up. Well, it was half of what I got here. Half. And we took the other half from here. So that's how we come up with a Halfbreed. And it was definitely goose talk. And that is where the Halfbreed originated. You've heard all the stories. That's the facts. Now what we did, I asked him, I said, well, how much money do you want off each call? I'm not like your average Joe. He said, the only thing I want you to do is blow in contest for 2 years. I said, fair enough. Because I thought, I know what it did to the geese. Because when you hear a goose off the distance, if you hear this sound here, your gun better be visible. But the pitch you hear a lot of times in the sun and you're shading your eyes is this. That real high pitch, and they hear 10 times what our ears hear. Okay? So that pitch, you need to be able to back it down. But as far as hunting traffic geese, this sucker will put them in your face. Had so many people say before to me, there ain't no way you can get them birds. Ain't no way. Which we don't get them like we used to here in Southern Illinois. But anyway, getting back to Keith's story, he told me all I want you to do is just use it in contest. Well, I was hotter than a firecracker on the fluke call. Alan McCree at that time, and Richie, and Gary McCree, Troy Dishner, Brandon Fletcher, so many good callers. I was so blessed to have so many good callers. And I didn't go begging for them. They just come to me, and I never did go try to buy a caller. But what I learned from when I give a man my word, this one right here was the second one I ever made, and this used to be Bottomland Mossy Oak. Yeah, that's got a little tape on it, but that gives it character. But I have literally killed thousands and thousands of geese with this, along with another named Sean Stoll, another named Fred Zink, another named Jeff Foyles. They have all literally killed thousands of geese with these half-breeds. If I had one call to take to the field, it'd be this one. And we sell these things from 100 to 300. But I got to be truthful. I haven't made it 44 years lying to people. I give you my word. I won 2 contests in them 2 years. I won a furniture contest over in Evansville. Pat Kozlick put it on, and it filled my house full of furniture. And I won this ring. And there's only one other one of these rings. And the guy that's filming this, Richie McKnight, he beat me by a point the next year, and he's got the other ring. But I mean, that is a very ironic. That contest there I won, then I won another contest. I can't remember, but I Bloated the World didn't even make the first cut. But I sold 50 of them when I walked off the stage. So did I lose or did I win? I put the application that Keith showed me, and what we did, we learned a guy by the name of Brent Dutton right here in Southern Illinois. The flute calls, we used to always just all clear. Brent couldn't do it. He was a guttural guy, all right? So he put this into it. But if you got a clear note and a guttural note, you got two geese. So with the short reeds and Hendersons, in Henderson, Chaz and Keith and all of them over there, good a guys you ever want to meet. They was just all clear. What I incorporated was what Brent Dutton showed me on the flute. I wasn't sure I could do that. But if you notice the flute, I'm blowing my cheeks out. You're popping the air. You're popping the air with a short reed. But what I did is I incorporated this grunt. And you can hear a little scratch there. She's not tuned exactly like I want it. I just pulled it off the shelf. But here's the one I hunt with, and I'll do it. You won't hear that. I taught in the 90s on the short reed way. These two fingers. You see so many of them come up and they think they've designed these two fingers. Well, I've had these things for about 60 years now. And these two fingers, they make that notch. Not mentioning no names, you know where I'm coming from. But these fingers are a great way to control back pressure. Do I believe a goose call is made to blow with one hand? No. Sometimes when I'm flagging, which is a more important call a lot of times than anything you can blow, best thing for a lot of places for this call right here is in your pockets. But one-handed, just to kind of keep them on, especially if the wind's blowing. But you got three different ways. I'm going to just throw this in on the end. I think you understand, and the relationship that I've got with the Hesses. God bless his soul. Charlie's passed now, and he was quite a friend. But there's three different ways you can use this half-breed. It's with the two fingers. Because all you've really got is a high, low, low, high, and a moan. If you can do that, you don't have to do all that crazy crap. It looks like Yellow Jacket's singing, you know what I'm saying? Don't let the call run you, you run the call. The other way is what I call binoculars. The binoculars, you extend the length of the call with your hand. God give you this meat, like this here. And now the third way is when you bring your thumb up like this, right, your index finger, you keep all the air, you direct the call, you run the call. And this is for your low ground stuff and just softer. You notice I'm not moving a lot. Now I'm going to show you each one of them positions, same air pressure. And I've got about 4 geese in there. The fourth one was when I raised my finger up. And it's nothing, it's something you can take. The unique thing about the half-breed, you're probably as close to the reed as you are to any call made. It's often been copied, but it's not been duplicated to this day. But that high pitch for traffic hunting geese and just killing geese is deadly. And I got that name right there to thank for it. Keith Charlie Hess. I appreciate your time, and I hope I've cleared the story up again. You can go on my website, www.timgrounds.com, and you can see that catalog digitally, and you'll hear the same story I just told you in here, because there ain't no making that story up. You can't make up something like that. So I appreciate you. Any questions, give us a holler. And traffic hunting is the way to get them. But this millennial bunch, I know you guys like to kill them. It ain't all about killing, just remember this. It's about hunting. If they called it killing, we wouldn't do it. And think about this too. If you don't want to be looking for your kids, take them hunting and fishing, because you will not like where you find them down the line. Thank you for giving me your time.